The Bring a Trailer Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer Podcast. Alex Porter with you once again from Bring a Trailer headquarters in San Francisco, joined again by Beck, our white glove manager. Hey, Beck.
Hey, Alex, how are you doing?
And we have a special guest in the studio today, which is so good because normally we do these remotely. We have Matt Schiller, founder and CEO of Snappr. Snappr is a really impressive and kind of unique and innovative one-stop shop for on-demand photos, for on-demand photo editing. And maybe a lot of people don't know, they power the Bring a Trailer Plus service. And so we've actually been wanting to do this for a long time. Matt, thanks for not only joining us on the podcast, but for being here in person.
Thanks, Alex. It's great to be back in your HQ.
Yeah, you've been here a few times, right? And we were talking about when we first moved into this building 7 or so years ago was the first time you were here.
Yeah. And I remember walking in the door and not expecting what I saw, which is like a lot of very cool cars surrounding the desks. I think I spent most of my time on that visit just looking at them.
We're going to go into the background of Snappr a little bit, but were you guys always headquartered in San Francisco? Is this where you started the company?
For a couple of months, we were actually in Sydney, Australia.
Oh, no kidding.
It's a very short period at the start of the company, but very early on, we kind of realized that we wanted to be a global company and that we wanted to base the company out of Silicon Valley. We wanted to come and raise investment. And so since the very, very early days of the company, this has been our headquarters here in San Francisco.
People are hearing your accent and they probably understand why it started there. But you lived here before, hadn't you, in the United States?
Never lived.
Okay.
I had visited and loved the place. Still do. I don't think I'll ever leave. But no, it was like a baptism by fire, coming here with a couple of month-old company with very little money and starting things from the ground up. And, it was just two of us in the office in those early days.
Really?
And, now we're about 15 people in our San Francisco office and about 250 people globally.
Bigger than us, Beck.
Well, I was just wondering, what was it looking like when you came into the BAT office? Were we considered like a big catch? Were you already working in the space pretty heavily? What was that sort of dynamic like when you came to us? And
I'll be honest, I didn't know about Bring a Trailer until one of our sales folks kind of introduced me to the company and said like, hey, I think this could be like a really great fit for Snappr and we could grow together because you guys were new, we were new, and we've figured out some high-scale photography stuff together and kind of like grew alongside each other, which has been really cool. Like it's been a really cool journey for both companies.
Snappr's our longest partnership of anything.
it was also our big first real one, to be honest.
We're going to dive into the Plus service and how important Snappr is to that and like how badly it was needed and how much it's needed in this industry. But I actually don't think I've asked you this before, Matt. Are you a photography guy? What led to you being interested in starting a company that provides on-demand photos?
I think I don't like to say that I'm a pro photographer. I do.
You might offend Beck, so you have to be really careful.
I'll also offend our photographers who are much better photographers than me. But it's always been a big interest of mine. I always had a lot of photographer friends back at college, back when I first had the idea for Snappr, and they kind of inspired the idea, or one of them in particular. And I still do shoots. I do the occasional shoot on the platform. In fact, just this last Sunday, Sunday before last, wasn't an automotive shoot, but I did a portrait shoot for a family in New York. And so every now and then I get on the platform as the undercover CEO as a photographer.
Do you put a disguise on? It's actually really smart. I mean, Randy's still, as you know, very involved in the company. He's out there commenting, dicing it up in the auctions every day. And I think that's actually super important. So I'm really glad to hear that you do that.
I think my favorite thing about having Bring a Trailer as a Snappr enterprise customer is that I have an excuse to scroll through Bring a Trailer listings in the office and call it work.
Totally.
Honey, it's quality control.
Yeah. That's what Randy says too. I think maybe the move is to talk a little bit about Plus itself. Beck, maybe you want to set up a little intro about what Plus is and how it works and why great photos and Snappr are so vital to us. And then we'd love to grill you a little bit, Matt, about how you've developed it on your end.
Yeah.
Matt and Snappr were basically kind of crucial into around 7 years ago or so now was when probably the biggest turning point in the structure of how Bring a Trailer was offering services came to be, which was the day we went from essentially one level of service to the three.
Good luck, everybody.
Right. And really diversified a spectrum of offerings for support to people. And so that first one being classic service that we still offer now, actually didn't have a name before. That was part of the rebrand.
It was just it.
It was just it. This is what you did.
And it might have been, it was way more expensive back. Was it $250 back then?
It was
still?
at one point $250. It went down to $50 $50 for a brief period of time. That's actually when I slipped in one of my cars before I
that's
started
right.
working
Right
here.
before you started working here. And then we took it up to 99.
Went back to 99, and that seemed to be like the right level for sort of what the assistance was.
Yeah.
And then white glove service was the sort of the top level of that spectrum. And then right there in the middle, some people like call it your car wash pricing. I would call it your Apple computer pricing model, is the sweet spot. It's the thing that you're trying to target people to go do for $429, photos and videos done, and Snappr makes it happen.
And the kind of key underpinning all this, which both of you know, but is important to reiterate every time I can to our community and our audience, is that good photos are the most important thing to having a good, honest, transparent, forthright auction description, right? It's the most vital thing. And in some ways, it's the most challenging thing for a customer to do themselves. This includes me if they're not handy with a camera.
Sure. And that's probably the most important factor of Snappr, is that you've developed this network of photographers who are essentially able to fix that solution of providing a photo shot list that we've constructed over experience with you as well, with you, Matt. What was that development like, of going from photographers who may not necessarily have an automotive background to all of a sudden developing that whole Rolodex of people who can work for you?
Yeah. In the earliest days of Snappr, we didn't really touch automotive real estate that much. It's actually something that came, we got bigger in like the next couple of years of the company. The original vision for Snappr was very much on the consumer side. Like we started off doing
2017 for the founding, right?
Yeah,
so people get an idea. Okay, great.
Like doing stuff that help people in their lives. But it was very early on that we realized that the people who need us even more than that are businesses, because whilst we add a lot of value for every consumer shoot we do in kind of like giving people like a memory that really lasts, that they can print out and put up on the wall, is just really cement like a important moment in their lives or whatever it is. In the lives of businesses, it's kind of even more pressing, because sometimes like how a business presents itself, how it presents its products, its inventory, if it's a marketplace, is like critical to the lifeblood of a business. Like it could be the difference between going out of business and being a thriving company.
100%.
And so over time, more and more of Snappr's focus has shifted towards B2B shoots. It's now about 75% of what we do.
Wow.
And by consumer shoots, you're talking like graduations, birthday parties, that sort of thing?
Yeah, family events.
Family events,
yeah. And the majority of what we do today is also enterprise. So it's like companies like Bring a Trailer with a big, diverse, constantly revolving inventory of stuff. It might not just be in automotive, in real estate, in e-commerce, in the food industry, grocery industry, a lot of like the big used goods marketplaces, they all use us to power their photography. We're kind of one of those brands that most people know us for I can book a photographer on demand. It's a photographer in everyone's pockets. But
secretly, you're powering all these other videos, like including for us. Yeah.
People are interacting with us in ways they don't know.
Yeah, well, part of what we want to do here is pull back the curtain on that, right? There's no reason people shouldn't know that your company's doing all this for Bring a Trailer sellers. The people who use you certainly know that that's the case. You just mentioned all these different enterprises that you're supporting, and they're all so different. That's like got to be one of the biggest challenges you guys face, right? I mean, Beck was going to have a whole question about it's so hard to shoot a Bring a Trailer car. Like there's a very specific set of requirements for that.
And to get back to Beck's question about like how do we bring on automotive photographers and how do we make sure that people turning up to capture people's prized possessions and make sure it's done in an extremely thorough, high quality and authentic way. So I can answer that briefly, which is firstly, we pre-vet all the photographers on our platform. One of our missions is to create as much work for creators as we possibly can. And it's typically work that didn't exist before. Like, these professional shoots weren't happening before we came.
Or there was so much friction to find the person that only a small group of people were getting sort of all that work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
About historically, something like 1 in 10 photographers who apply to the platform make their way on, get accepted and start getting shoots for us. We do vet photographers on many dimensions, but one of the most important is their portfolio. And we do that at the level of specialty. So if you're applying to Snappr, you might apply to be a portrait photographer. You might apply to event photographer. And to do that, you upload a portfolio for each one. So if someone wants to shoot automotive on Snappr, and we're always looking for more automotive photographers across the country, partly because of you guys, we will vet their automotive portfolio specifically. So generally speaking, photographers have already done that kind of work before they're doing it.
Oh, they have? I would have guessed that's the trickiest type of photographer to hire, automotive photographer. Is that not the most niche kind of thing you do?
It is one of the more niche ones. At the very minimum, we look for photographers who have a portfolio in kind of similar kind of work.
Of course.
Whether that be boats, real estate, or like things that are more in the general category, very different to like a baby shoot or wedding shoots and stuff like that. We also vet on a whole lot of other dimensions, and we look for people who will be like really good advocates for the brand and will give end customers.
Right, because they're your face out there in many ways, right?
Yeah, you're not out there, they're out there.
Yeah. Well, sometimes Matt's out there.
Sometimes.
Occasionally.
The automotive photographers, Alex, we were talking about, how many of them are sort of coming out to you and are interested? Is it hard to find them? We get applications for white glove for people who want to do photography, and I'm often steering people to Snappr as well. But what's I think unique with automotive is that there's such a fan base around cars that there's a lot of people out there who kind of like the idea of being an automotive photographer.
Right. Yeah, totally.
It's fun in the spaces. They go to car shows and all of a sudden they think, oh, I could do this, but maybe you can, maybe you can't. That's why the
because they're taking photos for fun on their own.
But on that consumer, exactly. They're taking it for fun. They see it on their Instagram. They see other people doing it. Whereas for those consumer facing things, that's not necessarily, I think, as commonplace. People aren't like, look at these other people's babies and, on their own Instagram, right? So you get a lot of people who I feel like think they can do it. When you say only 1 out of 10 are accepted, I'm actually not surprised at all. That sounds pretty accurate as far as like the people who can actually really pass the test to get on to the next stage.
Yeah. A few things with that. One, I think there's like one of the coolest things about our photographer network is the diversity. And some people love doing automotive shoots and some people love doing different types of shoots. So it's a real mixed bag. If photographers want to get into automotive, they can go out and do like a practice shoot on their own time and like build a portfolio that way and then start doing paid work. So we do see a bit of that. But yeah, I'd say like it's one of the more fun types of shoots that we do, in part because the kind of cars we're talking about here in Bring a Trailer's Taste are typically like, it's not your average secondhand car lot, that's for sure. I will also mention when we work for big brands and like our enterprises like you guys, big marketplaces, it's not the photographer editing the photos in the field like it would be for a consumer shoot or like a one-off shoot for a business. It's actually Snappr in-house editing teams and in-house editing tech that does the editing in those cases. So the product that the car seller gets, and by extension makes its way onto the Bring a Trailer platform, is a product of both a really great photographer and really great editing, and editing in a way that like it's very different for every brand. Like the big thing that is different about how we approach Bring a Trailer and some other customers similar to you guys, it's all about authenticity.
100%. Yeah, we don't want to touch anything up. Yep.
Yeah, it's all about
show the car how it is.
Accurate color. It's all about like perfect imperfections. Like, hey, if there's a scratch, it's not something we want to airbrush. And that's not something we want to not take a photo.
No, we actually want a clear photo of it.
Yeah, that's like, it's better for everybody to be like show the article that we're photographing in its kind of imperfect glory.
Of course. That's so interesting and obviously an important thing. Another tangential benefit for BAT customers that your editing team does is they organize the photo gallery, which is something normally our staff has to do and is quite painstaking. So the fact that Snappr shoots come in, it actually makes things go faster for the customer. It's probably something not really known out there in the world. It's actually makes the process go faster too.
But also as a photographer, you don't want to do that either. Like I actually ended up eventually, I was a freelance photojournalist for over a decade. And most freelancers eventually end up doing weddings because it's just the only way you can.
That's the bread and butter. Right?
That's where it all happens. And so you get to a point where like, do I want to go through the 3,000 images I just took and edit the 300 or so? Like, no, I want to go out and do another shoot. And I eventually got to the point where I was outsourcing all of my editing as well. And similarly, it was a conversation you had to have a trust factor with whoever you were outsourcing it with of what's my style, what's my look, what are my examples, and that sort of thing as well. It's actually pretty equivalent to photojournalism. You're looking for authenticity. You're not looking for manipulation, which is concerning, especially in today's day with AI images. Has that been something that people have like asked about, or people are curious about, or just assume is something you do or don't do? Is there any concern about the manipulation stuff?
I would say like different brands, different purpose. Let's say you're a big food delivery app, and if there was like a photo of a dish about to go on an app and it had a bit of sauce slopping off the plate, you might want AI or an editing solution to kind of like clean that up before it goes. And that's like legit. It's like, it's not the authenticity of what was actually sitting there on the plate, but it's kind of like.
That can be fixed before it's going to the customer. It's not lying to the customer. Yeah.
Whereas like with brands like During a Trailer, it's like part of the spec that we would never really manipulate pixels in that way.
Yeah.
And let's say a real estate shoot where there's some kind of like untidy cords in the background, like, you want that kind of stuff cleaned up. So there's a real mixed
But
bag.
yeah, that again plays into what we were talking about earlier, which is that like you guys are providing pretty different solutions for different customers.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
There's a lot of commonality, but the big difference is like what we call the brand guidelines. There are some brands that we've done hundreds of thousands of shoots for, and sitting behind each and every shoot, whether it's happening in, Chicago or the Bay Area, is the same set of brand creative guidelines. And then our photographers are all equipped with the Snappr app. And so if they're doing a shoot for Bring a Trailer, they're carrying an iOS or Android app in addition to their DSLR. And we have a Bring a Trailer shot list that we mutually created with you guys of like, right, here are all the shots that we think every Bring a Trailer listing should have. And so we give photographers tools like that, like handy checklists to help them. Because not every automotive shoot is the same.
Of course. And that's something you talked about us growing up together. We've had auctions for, gosh, what is it now, back 11 years. And so we've had Snappr the vast majority of our auctions, we've had Snappr around for. And we've both grown up together. We've learned all that stuff together, put those lists. You've probably been part of putting some of those checklists together back. Pre-White Glove days, you must have been part of helping figure that out, right?
Sure. I mean, we had the all photos at bringatrailer.com emails come to me. So it was part of it early on as making that shot list for it. And I will say an interactive photo shot list has been on my like engineering wish list for years.
Sure. Yes.
So hearing that you guys have that internally is phenomenal, because as a photographer, I've been there on group photo shoots for collections and such, and we're handing around papers and checking off things manually and hoping that we haven't missed anything. So for the submission process for that photographer, what's it look like after a photo shoot? What are they doing? Are they just sending it all off and Snappr takes it from there?
The simplest way to think about it is like you open our app. Typically, the photographers use a desktop app when it comes to upload, as opposed to mobile, but it can be done on mobile as well. And if it's a Bring a Trailer shoot, they will just dump the raw straight off the SD card, straight off the camera, have an uploader, and then we ingest those into...
I did.
As a photographer.
I used to shoot for the Giants here in town, and like the best thing ever was that they gave me their memory card. And so when I was done with the shoot, popped it, handed it over to him, walked out of the building. It was great.
I think like if you were, say, booking let's say you guys weren't an enterprise customer and you were just like booking Christmas.
That's like an individual
Christmas party shoot for the office or whatever. You'll be using our self-service product, and just like a consumer might, but it's about half consumer, half kind of small businesses or like more infrequent business use cases. The photographer will typically be the one editing the photos in those cases. So generally speaking, if it's a big enterprise and needs consistency, there's brand guidelines. We do the editing. If it's self-service pay-as-you-go customer, the photographer will do the editing in the field, which is nice for the photographers because some photographers love doing the editing piece, and some would love, like you, to get it off their plate completely. Working with Snappr, they can kind of pick and choose whether they want to do more on the enterprise side, more on like the self-service side of our business, and they could dabble in a little bit of editing and get it off their plate for some stuff like automotive shoots.
We've evolved so much with Snappr. I was thinking about this too, Matt and Beck. But in the early days of auctions, we would like beg people for 35 to 50 photos. Like it was hard to get that much out. And one of the things we've really evolved on is, this is probably true of all of your customers, but like the general consumer out there in the marketplace, Randy always says this, is so educated. They just want more. They want more data, more info. So we've evolved that. It's common to have hundreds of photos on a listing, and we've added video, which has been another service. Are you doing video for a lot of your other customers? It's really important for us. And in the early days, barely any auction listing ever had a video on it. It was a fancy one. And now it's like almost kind of required because you're buying a car sight unseen. Somebody wants to see it start up. They want to see it shift. They want to see it drive around.
Video is a really fast growing part of our business.
Yeah, okay.
It's not the majority of shoots yet that have it, but yeah, it's getting to that point.
There's scope creep with all these things. Though,
all of it, right? People get used to a product and then they want more. Give me more.
I've had people with like brand new cars and they're asking me, why are we doing a cold engine start on my like 2025 911? There's expectations now.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really even matter whether or not actually it is a true value add.
The consumer wants it, man.
The consumer wants it and they see, well, the last auction had it. Why doesn't yours have it?
Expectations treadmill.
Yeah, totally.
A question for you guys, like what % of customers roughly buyers on the Bring a Trailer platform would buy the car without ever seeing it?
Oh, almost all of them.
You mean literally not seeing it in person?
Not seeing it
The
in person.
vast majority.
99.9%.
Yeah. I
We
assumed
actually
it was
like the
pretty high.
reason we like the way we designed the whole system is to have the auctions be long enough so that people can go. That's
Right.
why they're a week long. Is like the
Yeah.
idea is like go look at it. Like, we kind of thought early on like, oh, it's going to be somebody roughly in the neighborhood of the car that would buy it. And a lot of people told us, oh, you're crazy. No one's ever going to buy $1 million car. Now we sell $1 million car almost every week, and it's always sight unseen.
But
It's
there's
pretty
no
crazy.
way that would happen if Bring a Trailer had the same number of photos per listing as cars.com.
No, there's
That just would
zero
never
chance.
happen.
And also without the commenters, like asking questions and picking it apart, which is the secret sauce, right? Like, and they're asking questions. A lot of times when you see a car misses reserve by a big margin, it's because the seller wasn't answering questions
Not
or
responsive,
seemed not honest or didn't provide photos of the people are like, hey, it looks like it's a little rusty there. Could you provide a photo? No answer, no photo. Like you just tanked your auction, dude. That's it. You know what I mean? It's fascinating. And we've seen that. Back to your original question. We thought and we still encourage people to go look at the cars in person.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild that things have evolved into, no, I have enough trust in this platform and in this process and often in a Snappr photo shoot to spend $1 million on a car that I've never seen.
Yeah.
But it's also, the results are real. I say this, and I don't think people believe me. Like we have very few issues. Very few of our sales fall apart, like very, very low, and very few complaints. There are people who complain. There's people who complain after they go see a car in person. And, old cars are old cars. But it is crazy where we are versus 10, 11 years ago and what people thought was possible.
There's an argument that you actually get a better sense
Oh,
of
I
what
think
the car is.
Good. Preach back.
With
this is
photos
true.
than if you even did see it in person.
Yeah.
You miss things.
And a
you don't
tentpole
know what to
auction,
look at.
sometimes you can
It can
see
be
it,
overwhelming.
but they just push it across the block. You don't know if it starts. There's no documents. There's no chance to ask the seller a bunch of questions for a week, right? So
you might be rushed a bit as well.
100%.
Like that happens all the time.
You might be drinking. You might be pressured by the auction house. Like there's
Yeah.
all kinds of things that don't exist on our platform.
Yeah.
You can also drink well on VAT though.
Well, that definitely happens. That definitely happens too. But no, it's a great question. Honestly, I would presume other people utilizing your services are seeing the same thing, right? Like people also buy houses sight unseen now for huge amounts of money, or other luxury goods that are sold at auction or online, and you just take the company's word for it. And 10 years ago, I don't think people would have thought that that's where the online economy would go, but here it is.
Yeah. I'd say the majority of our enterprise work is stuff that never gets seen by the customer until post-purchase.
In some ways, that's like the confidence is what you guys are providing.
Yeah, exactly. Trust, accuracy, and high amount of detail.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key. Matt, you brought some stats for us that I'd love to talk about. I said save it for the pod. Could you hit us with this? We're going to put you on the spot too.
You
tell me where you want to go first.
Turn this into a quiz?
Yes.
All right. I'll go with the larger, more aggressive number. How many images do you think? And this is images that are not just kind of like taken, but fully edited through our service and fully uploaded onto the Bring a Trailer website. So this is just for plus listings since we've been working together.
Oh boy.
Hold on. Can somebody play the Jeopardy music? I'm going to guess
Go with
200.
It's going to go with 1 million.
No, it's more. It's
More
going to
than
be
that? For
4.
delivered?
I'm going to say
the
4.
right number of.
I'm going to say
the right number of digits.
Okay.
I'm going to say
So
4 million.
God, this man is too good.
Well, because I'm thinking about 20,000 shoots and about 200 photos per.
Got it.
You're
Oh, I
very
was off
close.
my
It's 4.2 million.
Oh my God.
Very good.
I promise I didn't cheat.
Over 32,000 shoots.
32,000 shoots.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
that's say I would have been off on that. I would have guessed 20, 25,000. Wow.
I was going to guess around 40,000. Yeah.
And the tremendous number of videos now too, because we've had the video service for 2-ish years, something like that, maybe more.
Sounds
How
like
you
right.
doing videos?
Damn, I forgot to get that number.
we'll do an addendum later.
Yeah.
A more random one would be how many megabits or how
Oh
many
my God.
gigabytes there's been. Or,
So freaking many. And think of the man hours your team has spent on that too. And that's why
Snappr actually, we talk internally in engineering frequently in petabytes these days. Like
gosh.
that's the kind of like
that's 1,000 terabytes, or is that more than that?
Isn't that crazy? What's the term? I've never heard of it before. Petabytes?
Maybe I'm saying it. Is it petabytes or petabytes?
Okay.
It's one of the two. But it's
like a pita chip. Okay.
PETA.
Wow. That's so crazy, man. Isn't that wild? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Here's an easier question for you. How many states have we done shoots in in the US?
Oh, it's got to be 50. It's got to be all 50.
Yeah, it's all. How many counties?
Oh, gosh. There's 110 in California, and I bet you've done almost all those. I'm going to say more than 500 probably.
Counties? I mean,
Yeah.
if you think the average is probably got to be around, 40 counties in a state or so?
No, California has 110.
I know,
we're
but
a
the
big
average
state.
for the entire country, though.
500. I'm going to say 500.
Apparently, I should go and fact check this one, but apparently it's 1,899
Yeah, that could be right.
counties.
That's like probably most of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably getting towards almost every county in the country.
That's amazing.
There are some counties that are impossible to find photographers.
There's also some counties that probably have no cars in them, right? Like you get to some parts of northeastern California and there's cars there, but not many people sell them. There's one county in California, I wish I could remember what it was. It only has 1,900 people in it. So like there's no, there's some really small ones or rural. They're not even small necessarily. They just don't have that many people in
The
them.
challenge is when they're a vacation destination, because you often have cars there.
Oh, at vacation houses.
But you don't have
totally
a network of photographers in these spaces. And the number of times we've had to, because we were able to
Tahoe.
put someone on
Yeah.
a plane and fly them out there. It's just insane. How tough
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Hawaii is another tough one too.
Got more stats, Matt?
Well, there was that the study we did recently.
Oh, I definitely want to talk about
listing
that. Value proposition.
Yeah.
Shout out to Paul Casson, our colleague who helped kind of compile all that. And then to your data team. You guys have a whole data team. You guys ripped through those numbers. It was awesome, Matt.
Yeah. This will probably be more interesting stats for the listeners because it might kind of like affect people's decision about what to do with an upcoming listing if they're a seller. But
and before you say this, let me just preface this with, and I know this is going to sound like a sales pitch, but Snappr is like a remarkable value proposition in my opinion. It's $429, but that actually includes the $99 buyer's fee, right? For a Snappr shoot. So to get 150 photos edited professionally by your team and videos for that is like almost like crazy how good the value proposition is. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about the stats.
If there's one way of thinking with all of our enterprise customers and our marketplaces and by extension, their customers, whether that be restaurants, Airbnb homeowners, or any manner of different folks engaging on a marketplace or on a platform, everyone's thinking in terms of ROI. Like, what is my ROI on investing in visual content? And so,
again, that's like your educated consumer, right? Like that's what they're thinking about. Yeah, totally.
I'm actually like kicking myself that we didn't run the numbers on this years ago, because I'm sure they probably told a very similar story. I've got the numbers in front of me here. We went and looked at 200,000 Bring a Trailer auction listings, and we kind of split them into the ones that were plus and the ones that were classic. And we filtered to the United States, cars sold in the last 3 years on Bring a Trailer that had odometer readings under 300,000 miles and present, were private sellers, so not dealers, and actually sold. So anything that didn't meet reserve, we excluded. And we looked like creating pairs, basically. It's like pairs of a plus listing and a classic listing that were very, very similar. So exact same make and model and year, mileage within 10,000 miles of each other. And then we got down to 4,266 pairs. So of 8,500 cars, basically. And we looked at, okay, what was the average price of the plus listing that had the pro photography?
Sale price, yep.
Yes, average like final sale price, and then compare that to the classic ones. And what we found is that the ones with pro photography sold for 2% higher. Now, there's some other things here to consider, which is like not only did it increase the sale price, but actually increase the probability to sell as well when we did a separate analysis. But the cool thing about that, at the price that folks pay incremental, the $300 and something to upgrade to the plus listing, you're making on average an extra $1,100. So like it pays for itself like 3 times over, which basically means that, for any car over in the teens of value or more, it's paid for itself. Like it's ROI positive.
Yes.
So for the majority of listings, it more than pays for itself. And then we're not even accounting for like the time spent by the seller to go and do these 75 very specific shots on their own, to upload it themselves.
The mental anguish of having to do it. Yeah, totally. Totally. And there's another thing too that's important to know, which is a good lead image gets people to click on your listings. That's another thing that's not really measured by this, although could somewhat be measured by the fact that more of these sell, right? That people are just attracted to them because they have a good looking lead image, which is a really important thing on the site for getting your car noticed.
I absolutely love that you did the study, because I literally get asked
We've wanted this for years too.
Every single day I get this question on the phone, is it worth it? And it's so impressive to see that it is relatively low dollar. I was doing some math trying to figure it out. I couldn't figure out the real equation I needed to do in order to figure out what the number was in which 2% pays for itself.
I think $16,000.
That's where I was getting to. Yeah, somewhere around the mid to high teens. And that doesn't come into the factor that you mentioned, which is the value of your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is one that allows me to sell white glove at a much
and
higher
not wanting
premium.
to bang your head against a wall. Like I don't think I'm going to shock anyone by saying the number one pain point for a seller is the photo shoot. Like, and it's the number one thing that our team goes back and forth with somebody on. Like they've taken some photos, we're like, you missed 4 things. And like Snappr gets all that, right?
It is a multi-hour investment of your time, no matter how many times you've done it.
I don't know if you want to admit this, Matt, but before we did this time study, Matt actually went through our submission process. So he knows how painful it can be.
And I did bring a trailer shoot myself. Just That's right. As a classic buyer. So without my DSLR, I went through with an iPhone and pretended like, okay, well, what's it like on the other side? And kind of like, it took me hours in the photography business for a living. I
mean, we talked about it a little bit when we first started chatting, but like this is the whole reason our partnership started, right? Because we knew this was a pain point and we needed a partner to help people with it, right? And since then, we've added a couple other bolt-on services that help people transact after the fact. And we have a partnership with Carfax. You get a free Carfax, but Snappr was the OG. And it's the most important because photos are the biggest pain point. And it's like so many things with selling online. They're the biggest pain point and conversely the most important thing, right? It's a really interesting set of circumstances.
I'd be very interested to know what that result would be if you did include reserve not met auctions.
Yeah.
Because that might honestly be the factor was that the seller's presentation was relatively poor.
Totally.
You'd see the percent be a lot more than 2%. We just wanted to be like super.
We're trying to be as fair as we can.
And be positive about it too.
Right.
It's a little
And by the way, like just to be totally fair, some private party sellers take excellent photos, right? There are people out there who are excellent with a camera.
I tell people that they basically probably shouldn't do their own photos unless they have a professional photographer relationship on retainer who does automotive stuff.
Right.
Otherwise, like it doesn't really matter how good you think you might be. I mean, it's tough on an iPhone on your own. Just let somebody else do it. And,
I know.
And it's amazing to have like a price point as to what point it pays for itself.
Listen,
the minimum bid increment.
You don't have to sell me. I'm totally sold. Like I'm in. Hire a pro for everything if you can, right? Again, all these amazing things that I said about people being willing to buy expensive cars online sight unseen. The converse to that is it's a lift. Like we shouldn't lie about how hard it is to do that well, right? To provide the images and the story and the documents and to provide the trust to get somebody to buy your car sight unseen online. That's a lot of work. So if you can offload it, it's, in my opinion, always worth it.
Where's Snappr going next? You've been having this great growth with us in automotive. What other spaces for photography is somewhere that you feel like you can help improve?
We have about 20 different shoot types that are offered through the platform. On the enterprise side, some of the biggest ones I mentioned earlier, like food and beverage, and hospitality, kind of more broadly, hospitality and travel. Then we have real estate, e-commerce, automotive is up there.
Were you thinking about automotive when you started it? Was that always a plan or was that accidental?
I'll be honest, no.
Even though you are a little bit of a car guy, you have an interesting car and you're definitely a plane guy, which I will be remiss if we don't talk about for a second. We've got another pilot in the room here.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I do like things that get me from A to B for
sure. Yeah, I know you do. Beck and I were talking about this. Camera guys and car guys, airplane, it all goes together, right? People who like kind
of...
Nerds. Yeah.
I'm definitely in that category too.
Yeah. Locomotives, all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I cut you off, Matt. You were going to talk about opportunities for Snappr.
Yeah. Well, one piece of news just in the last 7 days is that we just announced our launch in the EU. So we are very much going global. Outside of the automotive space, some of the interesting work that we've been doing recently has been in the generative AI space. It's like very not relevant to the automotive space because of some of the reasons that we talked about, like authenticity. It's all about capturing this real world thing. It's just like with the event photography you do, there's not really a generative AI opportunity there because capturing an event is all about capturing the real thing, warts and all. But in some areas that we work, there is an opportunity to do generative AI work alongside photo shoots. For example, for a restaurant that maybe have a 50-item menu. And let's say in a typical photo shoot, there's only enough time and preparedness to go and prepare maybe like 10 items on the menu until people are like, this is a lot of wasted food and a lot of time. And then we can go through with generative AI with some cool techniques that we have to authentically generate the rest of the menu in the same style as the photo shoot. So
interesting.
that's like one example. We are working on similar kind of stuff for lifestyle photography for our e-commerce customers. So you might go and do a photo shoot of a product in a light box or many of them. But then off the back of that, you might not have the budget to go and do a like $10,000 lifestyle shoot for every product, but you can use generative AI to do an alternative to that lifestyle shoot. So it's like very complementary to the work that we do with traditional photography. We're working on stuff in the real estate space as well around virtual staging with AI.
Oh, yeah.
I have been tricked by virtual staging.
I have
it's actually
too.
surprisingly
It still
good.
feels a little bit like it's in its infancy, but I'm sure it's going to get better quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed it too. And it's interesting. At first, I was like, because I'm so BAT coded, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. But the interesting piece is a lot of times you do like seeing a room both empty and full and having to save the effort of moving all the furniture in and out. You just get it both ways.
Yeah. The one thing that underlies all of this for us is that we, even with our Gen AI products, we still have creators in the loop.
Yeah.
So like one thing we've noticed is when we set out to add to our creator network and add to traditional capture stuff we do a few years ago, the way we wanted to distinguish ourselves in how we approach Gen AI is that actually the biggest value unlock with this stuff for brands is when there is still a creator in the loop, because most Gen AI solutions in imagery, at least, never make their way onto company websites because you're just sitting there infuriated, clicking regenerate, and not getting something that's ever useful.
Yep.
And so our approach is vertical by vertical. And these other industries I mentioned, kind of creating a product for each space that is a one-hit success. So it's like, hey, I want a lifestyle image of these specs. Here's my brand guidelines. Like, here's the photo from the photo shoot we did of that product. And customer gets exactly what they want every time because we have creators in the loop.
Awesome.
Bringing it back to BAT photo shoots, you've had obviously a lot of cars for us. I imagine some motorcycles. What have we had outside of that spectrum? We've been talking about planes. Have we done like a Snappr plane shoot?
We haven't listed that many planes.
I didn't know you guys ever listed planes.
A few, and it's usually something that's like out of annual, or it's like a project. We had an air coupe project. You know what an air coupe is? They're the little one that doesn't have rudder pedals. They're supposedly unstallable.
It's a trainer.
The little twin tail. They're really pretty. We've had a couple like aerobatic planes. We had a Satabria, I think. I can't remember. The best one we ever had was we had a Stearman, which is pretty sick. Yes.
From like the 40s.
Yeah, the World War II basic trainer biplane with a huge radial on it. I'd love to do more, but
I mean, if
you know this already.
If I find out that you guys are sending us plane shoots, if there's anything,
you're going to be the photon.
In a 500-mile radius, I'm going to...
You might fly there.
Yeah, I'm going to go and do it.
I would love to list more. As you probably know, I wish we could conquer the space because the aviation market desperately needs Bring a Trailer. The prices are all over the place. Nobody's that serious about selling. Most guys just keep flying their plane and it's on controller for like 4 years.
Perfect adjacency to your platform.
Totally.
It's almost even easier because they're all located in just a few places.
Yes.
It's not like you have to necessarily find all these different,
One of the reasons we don't do it is like, there are quite a few aviation minded people on staff, but usually somebody reaches out to me or Beck and they're like, what am I looking at? You know what I mean? So then we have to explain. The rules and regulations are tough. So we have to explain, is it an annual? Like how many hours are on the motor? How many hours are on the airframe?
Maybe you need to have a sub-brand. Bring a pilot, bring a wrench, bring a license.
Bring an A&P.
Yeah.
Beck, I don't know if I've told you this, but Matt flies around a lot in my dream plane in a 182 RG.
Hey, fantastic.
Yeah. Beck went to one of those colleges where he got all of his ratings when he was going to school. He didn't go. He went to a better one. I learned how to fly at Embry-Riddle. He got a better one.
I went to University of Illinois.
I
got an aviation human factors degree there. So I got commercial license, which I think you have got as well. And then did my instrument.
You were always up to twins, though, weren't you?
I was on Seminoles and doing that sort of thing and complex aircraft, that sort of stuff. But 182 is complex as well. So you've got
borderline. Just
no, but once you put the gear up, it's even more complex.
Pitchable prop on a 182, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, that's all you need.
You've got a fancy prop, don't you? You tell me you have something wild? Do you have
composite.
Yeah, that's right.
One of those
3-blade, right?
German composite props, 3-blade. Yeah, which is A lot of prop for a 182.
Totally. I think the 182RG was a 2-blade constant speed when they were new, weren't they?
I think there might have been a 3-blade
Okay.
factory upgrade option with like a Macaulay 3-blade or something like that. But yeah, 2-blade was definitely the default.
And are you flying out of the Bay Area here?
Yeah, out of Oakland.
Out of Oakland, got it. I was always saying Carlos, which is always tough because you're under SFO airspace the entire time. Well, technically Oakland is too, I guess.
Yeah.
But you've got to like, the routes you'd be sent is like fly towards Mount Diablo
I know.
for like 30 minutes until you could like turn away and get out of the
I
air.
only have like 80 hours and I haven't been in a light plane in 17 years. And so I'd be scared to fly here. You guys are brave and you guys have a lot more experience than me.
My first flying was in the complete opposite airspace, which is out in the middle of the Australian outback. My first lesson was when I was 15 years old.
152?
No, it was actually, the name slips my mind, but one of those like South African.
Interesting.
What's the brand? Like two-seater.
I know what you're talking about.
Two-seater trainer.
Tandem or side by side?
Sling? I'm pretty sure it was
They have a
sling.
stick, don't they? Aren't they stick? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think that's what it was.
I know what you're talking about.
But actually, I got my private at St. Carlos as well.
Oh, nice. At Bel Air?
No, at Fly Bay area.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but after these lessons as a kid, I didn't actually get my private license until
That was
2020.
That's me. I'm a pretender. I'm kind of this way with cars too. I like to talk about it more than I like to actually do it. They call it a bench racer with cars. I don't know what you call it when you're a bench pilot, but you're just hanging around the hangar talking about it all the time.
A hangar pilot, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, in your guys' work, I'm guessing it could be super useful because most car shows happen to be, from what I've seen, next to an airport.
They are.
They're very much connected, especially once you start talking about a certain price point. I mean, some car auctions happen at airports.
Yes,
as well.
and a tremendous number of our photo shoots, and I bet those include plenty of Snappr shoots, take place at airport. Because, especially if you got a Cessna, a car under each wing can fit under a high wing, right? So people have their T hangar with a Cessna and 2 cars.
There's lots of airplanes behind cars in photo shoots. Everyone loves to try to get those in there. It'd be hilarious if the inverse were also true. If you've got an airplane that you're trying to put on DAT and your car in the background.
Where we've had a couple shoots done is Noss Field up in Novato.
That is where I got asked to do my landings in my private pilot exam.
It has a kind of a nasty crosswind, doesn't it? That's what I heard. Yeah,
I was really lucky on this particular day. But we were over San Pablo Bay, and the examiner cut the engine on me and said, all right, where are you going to land? And it was Noss Field.
Great. Love it.
Actually touch? Or did you pretend like
I think he cut it to half power.
Okay.
I had to come in and do a half power land.
Oh, gosh. I'm having flashbacks to my instructor all the time, cutting the power on me all the time. And then he would, he'd keep the engine alive. He'd goose it every once in a while because the motor would start to stutter. Yeah, he didn't want to actually lose the motor.
On a twin engine, you can obviously shut it all the way off.
Yeah.
And then you have to learn how to fire it back up while mid-plane.
Oh, do you do that?
Yeah, you do.
With tons of rudder in while you're doing
it? Prop flat because you don't want the drag.
Yeah, feather it.
Because it'll keep going on just because of the air pressure over it. Right. And so you want it to get flat, reduce all the drag. And that's honestly a multi-license. That's all you're really learning is asymmetrical thrust. What does a plane act like?
Standing on the rudder.
Single engine. Oh, yeah, just completely pushing on it.
Yeah. Like my tail dragger, which got ground looped eventually.
Yeah.
Next time we're going to do an all aviation podcast.
I feel like the car people listening.
I know they're done.
Like,
they're
guys,
done.
You going to do this to the whole rest of the thing?
I've threatened it before, so maybe we'll do it and invite you, Matt. Before we break, what else should people know about Snappr? What else should they know about Plus? Obviously, we've given it a hell of a plug that, again, sounds like a sales pitch, but it's all honest to goodness. We believe in this very, very strongly, and we appreciate the years of partnership with Snappr and look forward to many more. But what else should they know about you or your company, Matt?
Well, first of all, thanks for all the kind words about the company. I think if there's one thing that everyone should know is it's like whether you're about to list a car soon or not, everybody can be a user of Snappr because we do so much. It doesn't matter if it's for your work. It doesn't matter if it's for your personal life. There is something coming up in the lives of everybody in the next couple of months that we could play a part in. And it's very easy to get started with us because we don't just do big enterprise stuff, shoots through API like we do with Bring a Trailer. You can jump on our website and have a shoot booked in 60 seconds for anything under the sun. Car, real estate, personal event, something for the family. And it's pretty affordable. Like for under $200, you can get an entry-level photo shoot with us that includes editing. And every single one of those has like a pre-vetted photographer, probably a specialist in whatever it is that you're looking for. I'm guessing the listener base is probably from all over the world. But just in case anyone's wondering like where we're available, The United States is our biggest market. Up until recently, we're in the English-speaking world. So United States, Canada, Australia, obviously, the UK, and a few other places. But yeah, just recently, if we've got anyone listening in from the EU, we just launched basically across almost the entire EU. We're now in 6 languages as of a few weeks ago. And yeah, give us a try.
Awesome, Matt. Congrats. Thanks for that. What a responsible CEO. You hear that? What a wonderful summation. Fantastic. Hey, we appreciate you coming in, man. It's so awesome to do this in person. Usually we're on the screen, so this makes it so much better.
Yeah, no, I definitely rather be doing this than on another Zoom call.
Totally. Any parting shots from you, Beck?
Just thanks for coming in. Snappr is actually, it's not my purview at all, but I honestly sell it every day. Because a lot of people who call in, they're really just curious as to how to solve this issue for them. And for some of them, white glove isn't the answer, and plus service really is. And it's very, very, very tough to make a case not for it.
Yep. Agreed. Well said. Well, thanks, gents, for doing this. Appreciate you. And thanks to everyone for listening. As always, please feel free to send questions, concerns, complaints to Matt's personally. No, I'm kidding. To podcast@bringatrailer.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Alex.